Yes, we can. Yes, we can make this dream a reality on this Earth Day. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore, where information is power, but it is not power if you don't do nothing with it. And that's what we're here for today, to come up in here and do something with it. Oh God, we thank you for this day. We bless you, oh Lord, for another opportunity to breathe the air that you supply for us, oh Lord. Lord, to come into us and just give us, quicken our bodies, oh Lord, that we might get up and go about our days, oh God, to do those things that are most dear to our heart. Some things we don't want to do, like go to work, but we know what we got to do to keep moving, oh God. So we thank you for the strength and the mind and the being clothed in our right minds to do the right things. We thank you, Lord. We're asking you, oh Lord, to just extend your hands upon this city. Oh Lord, we are just in the midst of a whole bunch of change right now. Some people don't like change, oh God, but we know that anything that is not growing is dying. So we thank you for the opportunity for change. Let us become a part of the party and take part in what's going on so that we might reach a consensus for what is best for our people. We thank you for this time, and I pray in thy son Jesus Christ's name, amen. Good morning,
Amen.
Gentlemen.
Amen.
How are you? Hello. Hello. Let me introduce our anchors here, my co-anchors, Mr. Leo Burrows Jr. How are you, Leo?
Good morning, everybody, and praise God and pass the ammunition for justice, decency, and fair play.
Yes, sir, Bobby, that's what we's up to today. And please welcome Mr. James C. Morant, whom he invited me to Easter dinner yesterday with his family. And Lord, I tell you what, I could smell it when I got out the car. He got some cooking sisters. I tell you that Leslie, she was such a hostess. Welcome, Mr. James C. Morant. How are you today?
Well, thank you. Good morning and happy Earth Day. And it was a pleasure to have you in our company yesterday.
Well, thank you for sharing.
We know why he was late. The food slowed him down.
Slowed him down.
Would they have rabbit? Would they have rabbit? What they think?
No, man, they had fried chicken and ham and cabbage and fresh spring squash, and it was just wonderful. Oh no, it was up and out. He gonna send me a thing telling me it's gonna be a modest dinner. So when I got there, now he sent me the menu, but Lord, they can just cook. You know how them sisters is. Mama done taught them, and they'd made them cabbage. And it was a little bowl they served them in for everybody. Oh, I could have killed that whole bowl by myself. I didn't want to take her. Cabbage is one of my favorites, but I was nice. Mama taught me how to be nice when you go to other folks' house. Please welcome. Also, the wonderful, the brilliant, these are all soldiers here. Marvin Doc Cheatham, how are you today, Doc?
I'm doing good. Look, I'd have been a little bit leery if you came there and was supposed to be a modest and they give me what looked like it was the Last Supper. I'd have said, oh Lord, y'all didn't tell me something I was going to leave today. But it's such an honor to be back here with you guys. It's an honor. And here we got another soldier to my right. Man, I can take on anybody today.
Right on.
Yes, you can. And lest we forget, and we will never forget, the brilliant Mr. Richard Terry. Is that Richard on line one?
Yes.
Hey, Richard, how you doing?
Oh, I'm still here.
You still here? But I don't know, why didn't you call in the private line?
Because the other line, nobody was there.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to ask you to hang up and call back so we can have more lines. Just call back on the private.
That's
Jason
no
was probably collecting us, and I was running late, so that's the reason for that. But welcome. Go ahead. Welcome, Richard Terry, also our co-anchor, one of our co-anchors, and he's going to be calling right back, and we'll get him up on the line. Thank you very much. You all, I tell you what, what a day.
Yes.
What a year. I tell you what, see, I believe that there comes a time that not only tries men's souls, Doc, but a time when we must look at what our souls are being fed. And we are in that time. I still say I believe the real blessing would have been if Jallis would have been governor and all this stuff started happening. I would feel a little more secure in finally cleaning up our act here in the state of Maryland, a state that has systemically done some things and continues to do things to hurt our people in such a way that it has crippled us and destabilized us since this city has been in place. Yesterday when I left James's family's house, I drove up Cold Spring Lane. and I took pictures, and I'm going to put them on my Facebook page because I want y'all to see how the city discriminates against its own people. If you drive up Cold Spring Lane, you will notice when you get to Roland Park, you don't see any speed cameras, but you see a sign saying that to beware of them because there's a school there. But then you get to the next block all the way, you don't see a speed camera from Roland Park Road till you get to York Road. Then it's 4 of them at York Road, and keep on going up. And Lord, when you get near Morgan, what is that? What's the name of the Lock Raven?
Yeah.
It's 6 to 8 cameras on those in that right there in that area. Keep going on up. It's 2 more cameras before you get to Morgan. And Lord, when you get to that pole right there before Morgan, it's 8 to 10 speed cameras up there. So we're going to City Hall. We're going to City Hall. We're going to talk because this is discrimination. It is straight up. It is predatory on black people. The richest community in the city, there are no speed cameras. But in the poorest sections of the community, there are hundreds of them. What is wrong with that picture? And you all should be calling your councilman because we found out that the turpitude, or what is that? The turpitude defined as wicked, depravity. It is that the city council, because I'm understanding that they have to approve those cameras to be put there. And did y'all know that 44 cents of every dollar that we pay in fine goes to the police?
But it's for safety.
For safety, right? Yeah, right.
It's going to pay that $500,000 salaries that they got for 3 people.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, they need to find another way to do it, like putting in a maybe commuter tax. And to all these people, they talk about, these are our neighbors. No, they ain't our neighbors. They can't stand us. They don't want to be a part of Baltimore. And how you check, you go into the county and see how many cameras you see going into the county. Once you get in the county, you can count them on one hand. But when going into the county, it's just everywhere we look, y'all, these people got their feet on our necks. And it's time for us to start screaming and saying, ouch, we're tired of this. Please welcome also a young man, Messiah Fit, Marcus Garvey, they're calling him now, because he's doing such an incredible work in the community. With our young people, with our young men. And 5 years ago, he told me about his plan, teaching them how to live in the wilderness, teaching them how to handle guns, teaching them how to be disciplined and how to fight for our people. And I thought he was crazy, and I told him so. But now, in the times that we're in, I see he was ahead of his time. Please welcome Mr. Messiah Fit. How are you, Messiah?
Rue, what's going on, family?
Man, we are here. Quickly, tell us about what's getting ready to happen here. Something happened on August the 17th. We want y'all to start getting ready for.
Well, first, it's a very special day because it honors one of the greatest, if not the greatest, organizing unifier of black people, which was Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
August 17th is his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And we are collaborating with Father Charlie Duggar, who does Marcus Garvey Day Parade every year. I think he's been doing it for some 30-something years.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what, Father Charlie Duggar, we can really take this day to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called the RBG Human Flag.
Red, black, and green. Mm-hmm.
Red, black, and green human flag. It's the same flag that Marcus Garvey made in 1920. The red stands for the blood of your ancestors. Black stands for the first man and woman on earth, or melanin. And the green stands for the land, the abundance of land that we must reclaim as African people.
Yes, and fertility.
And at Matthew Henderson on February 22nd this year, we did the first youth human flag of 350 children.
It was beautiful.
Such a powerful thing. I mean, the picture is going viral. Actually, if you Google, just put on Google RBG Human Flag on Google, and everything about this movement will pop up. I mean, it's really like going viral. And just yesterday, we had our first campaign day. Mr. Leo was there, and we just had some strong people out there. And we was at North and Mount Royal. We had red, black, and green flags on every corner. I mean, we literally painted that area red, black, and green.
Yes, you did. It was beautiful.
And I just want to share something. When we was talking to everybody that we could that was stopping at the red light. At first, when they would see us, they would try to like sort of give us the shoulder because they think we panhandle. But once I showed them that picture of those children, that 350 RBG human flag, they put their windows down. They didn't care if it was a green light.
Amen.
They said, we going to make sure we share this. They bought tickets. I mean, people believe in this. Our people believe in this. Our young people on the corners.
Yes, man. And the old and the new. Leo was out there, and he was out there dancing on the corner. I'd have paid just to see that. With him out there dancing in public. But listen, I got to go. But August the 17th is going to start at 12 noon in Harlem Park. And if there is going to be a parade, you're saying, Messiah?
Yeah.
Okay, and that parade
is going to start from Cary and Cumberland. Is going to march its way on down to Pennsylvania. But I'm gonna put this out there real quick. We looking for the dirt bike boys. They need to be a part of this.
Organization.
Everybody always gives them the cold shoulder and it's illegal this and that. Well, won't you build them a park, Baltimore City? You know what I'm saying? So we want to invite the dirt bike boys. We want to invite the young boys that ride their bikes. We want to invite all the young folk in Baltimore City to turn up and let's make this thing pop.
And we want them to wear red, black, and green. Everybody, start getting your fit outs ready now. Red, black, and green. That is the Pan-African colors. It is accepted all over the world. You're going to wear red, black, and green that day. We're going to come out there. We might not be able to get behind each other. What did Marcus Garvey talk about? He talked about the Italians got their own flag, the Scottish got their own flag, but the coons, according to white people, don't have their own flag. We got a flag. We're going to stand behind that flag and forget our differences and let the colors of that flag bring us about in our mentality a unity that we are one people.
Can I put my number out there?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Hurry.
Yeah. My phone number is 212-202-0107.
Give it again.
We need some funding and we need some support. 212-202-0107. And get them dirt bike boys in contact with me. Thank you, Pat.
All right. Thank you so much, Messiah Fit, and the Black Wolves, and also the Roots of Scouting. You see, I love it. Thank you so much. We got to do this, y'all. We're going to do this. Now, I tell y'all going to stir up some poo-poo. Let 10,000 people show up out there. Sure, let that, and let the messages be what they should be about. We got to start looking at our differences and start looking at what we have in common, and that is the color of our skin. And the same thing happened to you happened to me, my mama, my mama's mama, my mama's mama, and my daddy. So we are no difference. We're all in the same basket. So let us come together August 17th at Harlem Park. You don't want to miss it, and want to get that out there. Well, gentlemen and audience, I've got a young man. I call him young because
sort of.
His mind is just brilliant, and he's been on the battlefield a long time. We call him Bubby, but he has a formal name. Please introduce yourself to these folks that don't know you.
Yes, this is Lucky Crosby Sr. from Sandtown.
Lucky Crosby. Did your mama name you Lucky?
I have a twin.
No, what's the twin's name?
My twin named Hope. She was lucky she has and hope she don't have any more.
What?
I like that.
That's a true story.
True story.
Wow. Well, I'm not going to say you lucky. You are blessed, and we are blessed because she had you. Thank you. We're here to we got a lot we want to talk about today, but we want to first talk about what is going on after the Department of what is it? Housing.
Yeah.
Said that Baltimore has the worst housing projects in the nation.
In the nation.
And we know we have been through a lot. Doc, I know you know this. We all know this. You've been fighting for it. We've been fighting for it. And Luck is just going to bring us up to date about what's going on with the people that are still in office, that are there, that are still not doing their job, haven't been doing their job. Graciano didn't do anything. He was getting paid by the feds and he didn't do anything. So where are we now?
Post Paul Graziano. What you have there, you still have the DNA. And the family members of Graziano still there. But the new housing director name is Janet Abraham. A $200,000, I say show pony mean no respect. Because the policies is still the same. The conditions are deplorable for those residents there. And while this city seems to have a plan to give the public housing residents Section 8 and move them out the city to weaken the African-American voter base, in my opinion. But let's go to specifics. When you don't have a plan in what the people in public housing, employees and residents have went through for the past 20 years under Graziano in a Democratic-led city, something is shameful here. And no one seems to want to say anything about it. Now we have an ex-official interim mayor, whatever you want to call it. I'm asking for the mayor to call Ms. Abrams in to a public hearing and have her explain places like McCullough Homes with 300 working work orders outstanding.
How many?
300. That means 300 issues that residents have is not being attended. I can give you a list of all the public housing where there are issues like this, where things are not being done. I received an email on Friday, last Friday, concerning that now they have the supervisors or superintendents sitting on their employment panels, and they are hiring their buddies and friends, and their buddies and friends have no idea how to do maintenance. No idea how to do maintenance, like putting base cabinets, 3 base cabinets in a kitchen that only take 1. Does not know how to put on a functional proper lock. And this all is leadership. Ms. Abrams received $200,000 of my tax money to do nothing but walk around trying to act pretty. I heard she had podcasts and everything, but what about the residents of Gilmore Homes where they're being displaced because Housing Authority could not provide them with adequate safety housing conditions?
When I'm just reading this was Sunday's paper, City Public Housing gets a boost. Nearly 50% of sites passed inspections in 2018, a year only after 35 made the cut.
Let me just say, untrue as that may be, there is a process of how you rig the inspectors. The inspectors come in looking for smoke detectors, trip hazards, operating doors. They looking for drips and faucets. This can easily be fixed by changing the aerator, putting a battery in the smoke detector, putting some WD-40 on a lot.
Baltimore accounts for as much of the state's public housing, with 24 out of 37 inspections of city housing that year failed to earn a passing grade. But the inspections did in that report were a year or more old. Since then, 10 of the city's public housing sites have moved from a failing grade to a passing one, according to the city's housing authority. 5 passing sites, though, failed their inspections. 5 of over 50% of the 10 passed their. Leo, go right ahead.
There is no excuse. I'm looking at the city council. You help me, Lucky Crosby. Sharon Green Middleton has been in that council how long? 20 years?
Correct.
Mary Pat Clark, 25?
Long time.
30 years. Bernard Jack Young.
Lifetime.
More than 20 years. Who else do we have in there who's a veteran of the city council?
Well, because they got rid of some of their older.
The man who's a veteran there, the black guy, at city council, who's been there 10, 15 years.
Bill Henry?
Bill Henry. Bill Henry. I'm saying he's been there, am I correct, at 10, 15 years?
Yes.
I'm saying you've got to hold folks accountable. The Legislative Black Caucus is in the mix when we start talking about these things. We know and they know that there's a plan afoot to destroy public housing and to, in fact, maintain concentration camps, because that's what they have become. That's by design.
Wow.
Now, what are we going to do as voters to retaliate against those persons who hold these positions, who've been negligent and remiss in their responsibility to ensure the survival of African people?
Let's be mindful that there have been a plan to privatize the entire housing authority of Baltimore City. What I mean by privatize, you sell all the development to developers. You keep the housing employees, the housing authority staff that is at 417. You keep them in place to do a monitoring of the development. But in fact, you're still not creating a livable condition for the residents there or decent employment for Baltimore City residents. Why, when we can hire everybody from out of town, when you have every leadership position in the top executive branch at the Baltimore City Housing Authority, none of them are Baltimore City residents, none of them live in the state of Maryland. They are all carpetbaggers making six figures and better.
Yes,
So we don't want the people to live. Because if the conditions aren't livable, rats, roaches, and all the rest, no heat, no...
But where are they going to go? And I'm just reading here that Ms. Abram acknowledged that they still have a long way to go and pointed to a need for more funding to address significant capital expenditures like new heating systems. She also said some of the things inspectors mark properties down for are beyond the housing authority's control, like a tree hanging over a building. Well, why can't the city go in and trim them trees back? It makes no sense.
Mr. Henderson, when I was at the Housing Authority, they had a landscaping department that was equipped to take down trees. Now, when Ms. Abrams speak, I hold my nose because it sounds like Paul Graziano. You come here without a plan, they stick you in office when there's no plan, when you does not listen to the people who can have a plan to transform public housing into a viable entity for this city and not an eyesore that it has became.
We're not waiting for 2 weeks before an inspection to do maintenance anymore, Abrams said. Doc, what do you say there?
Last Tuesday, the Matthew Henson Neighborhood Association was having a discussion. We care very much about our neighbors that are next to us. Our neighbors are Gilmore Homes. We requested at that meeting that the representative who came to my community meeting go back and ask for a meeting so our community can talk with Gilmore Homes residents and those that really are concerned about what's happening in public housing. I think we need to take this further. I think Lucky has had this issue brought to us, and I think we need to do more than just talk about it. I think, one, we need to have a citywide discussion about public housing. I want to suggest we have it in the month of May, where the residents have an opportunity to come and voice their concerns, where the city agency itself can share with us what it is that they're doing, what it is that they have planned, but also share with us, because in our community meeting, we were getting different messages as to what's going on with moving residents out. So what we are calling for, and we asked that at our last meeting last Tuesday, I have not heard from housing yet, the representative who came to our meeting, but we asked for a public meeting. And I think that's what we need to ask for. I think we need to ask this new person that's taken over Graziano's place and whatever staff she needs to bring. I think we need a citywide discussion on public housing.
I agree with you, James.
Is there a citywide plan that anybody's seen?
Yes, there's a citywide plan to privatize all the buildings and take privatize all the buildings and put, say, for instance, management companies in managing the buildings and the developments. Like, Perkins is one, Douglas is one, Gilmore is one.
Who was that plan shared with?
The plan was shared with, used to be Paul T. Graziano.
Right, but no community associations.
No.
Well, see, this the part. The Housing Authority have a board supposed to be a residence, but the residents have no say, no power
on that board.
Is that the RAB board?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so they're rubber stamps.
Yes, they're rubber stamps.
They're being used and manipulated.
And they also have a board of commissioner that, if I remember, you have a preacher on there, you have the John Hopkins entity on that whole board, that Mr. Smith. So I'm putting it where you can get it at.
So then the idea that Doc raised is a really good one, since nobody's reacting to a plan, and that plan hasn't been shared with community associations.
You plan to fail.
That's
exactly.
But I want to give a date, and maybe we can put this date out, and all of these talk show hosts that we got that doing such great work, such as what Patrick is doing, is we can call for a date so that they won't have to ask us to give us a date. Let's suggest the date of May 18th, which is, I think, a Saturday. Let's ask for a citywide meeting. They can have it at the War Memorial or some other location that's accessible to public vehicles. Let's ask for a date that the city have a citywide discussion about public housing in the city of Baltimore. And I'm suggesting May 18th.
May 18th. Okay.
As a suggested date. I think that's a Saturday. So we can have our residents who are working that will be able to come. But let's have a citywide discussion on public housing.
My question, can I ask a question,
Yes,
gentlemen?
Richard, go right ahead.
I'm wondering how long this plan has been in place, because I'm thinking that this plan was originally written up, especially when they started taking down the high-rises, during Danny Henderson and Kurt Schmoke's days.
Mm-hmm. Is that true? I see Buddy shaking his head.
Correct, but remember, Mr. Henderson was a visionary. He took down Murphy Homes, but he also put back affordable, decent, safe housing.
Yes,
where if you go to where you drive down Pennsylvania Avenue, you couldn't even really tell which one is public housing and which one is for ownership.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, and they're taking care of them too.
Question of clarification.
Hold on for a minute. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore. Now, I could tell you don't touch the dial, but I tell you what, do we really care about people who are less fortunate than us? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. The Bible says the poor will be with us always, but it ain't because they have to be. Don't you touch that dial. Patrick Henderson and et al. Will be right back.
This is not the time to get distracted, and this is not the time to go off course. This is not the time to lose your focus. Got a work to do for the Lord, and you cannot afford to lose your way. You come too far.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore. Brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel.
This is Donnell Spivey from Exit Spivey Professional Realty. I've been selling real estate in the Baltimore metro area for over 30 years. I invite you to join me on our Real Estate Wealth Building Show every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on WOLB 1010 a.m. We will be discussing how to build wealth through real estate. For buyers, we will discuss the Student Loan Debt Elimination Program, First-Time Homebuyer Program, and also credit repair. For sellers, we will help you get top value for your home through helping you prepare your home for sale, free staging, free professional photography, and global marketing. For investors, we will show you how to start investing with only 3% down. Our guests will include lenders, title companies, home inspectors, contractors, stagers, and more. Call us today at 410-465-0083 or visit our website at mdhometoday.com. Once again, the number is 410-465-0083 or visit us on our web at mdhometoday.com. Please join us this Saturday for our Lunch and Learn in Columbia, Maryland from 1 to 4 p.m. Register at 410-465-0083.
It's the all-new DJ Booth radio show happening on WOLB 1010 AM every Wednesday at 1 p.m. It's new school meets old school. It's Baltimore's best DJs talking about trending topics, live interviews, and artist spotlight. The DJ Booth radio show cares about the community and is always giving back to support new artists and shining a positive light on up-and-coming talent. It's each and every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Catch the shop talk about local and national entertainment. Call in and talk to DJ Duke, DJ Keish, and DJ Knowledge. It's the team that's bringing Baltimore's entertainment inside scoop to your radio. Turn up the DJ Booth radio show, streaming live on WOLBbaltimore.com every Wednesday at 1 p.m. New school meets old school with the DJ Booth radio show. Email them at djboothradio@gmail.com. Also, for your DJ and event needs, all types of events, contact DJ Duke, DJ Keish, and DJ Knowledge. Email them at djboothradioshow@gmail.com. It's where the future of entertainment lives.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
We're back. We don't have a lot of time here, but Lucky, you were just telling us, we found out the name of the person whom you were trying to address, you've been in communication with.
Councilman John Bullock, who heads the Baltimore City Council housing. But keep in mind, the Baltimore City Council has no authority over the Baltimore City Housing Authority.
What?
And they will tell you that.
They have no authority?
No authority.
But the Baltimore City Council should assert adversarial protections for the people in public housing. I understand what he's saying. Jurisdictionally speaking, they don't have the authority, but they can convene public hearings. Yes. They can enact resolutions that garner and mobilize people in a certain direction. Clarification, Bubby. Carol Payne is the director of the HUD office here
on Howard Street.
And what responsibility does the HUD office have in pushing the issues of compliance with standards of maintenance and decency? And then I'm going to ask you something about Reginald Scriber, because I don't know whether he's retired or whether he's still getting paid.
He's still there. He's still getting paid.
Okay, well, we're coming to him. Let's talk about Carol Payne.
But Payne, during my ordeal in late 2015, I went to her office and stayed there maybe 2 hours. She never came out to see me. They sent someone out that wouldn't even give me a call. So I have no faith in your neighbor in Reservoir Hill.
Carol Payne lives in Reservoir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so but I'm saying they have a line of sight to push the issue of enforcement of the rule. Money. They control the money. So well, they're not. So HUD's not doing their job.
But wait a minute, they step on the middle class. They don't care nothing about the middle class either. They dumb. Lord help me today. They damn sure don't care nothing about poor people. Okay, so what do we do? Do we step up? Do we step up and do we say we got it? Because you know what? I'm going to tell y'all the story and we're going to move on.
Expose
When I became the president of Baltimore City Community College, president of the student body, I worked for a year to make sure all them doors had handicap pushes on them, where you could push the button and get into, because I saw the kids struggling with the doors. I worked for a year to do that. The next year I lost my hand and I needed all those doors.
Wow, isn't that something? Wow.
See, I didn't know, but I'm telling you that God, I don't believe in religion, but I believe that God directs us, and when it comes to helping one another, He does. So just because you don't live in the projects don't mean that you should not be concerned about the people that do, and that you should have concern and try to help to make their lives better. Yes, Leo.
I was born in the McCullough Homes in March the 11th, 1942. 440 Cummings Court. So I have an affinity, certainly, for McCullough Homes. Reginald Scriber, what is he doing now in relationship to this or others? He's been an employee for more than 50 years of the city, having led housing and done a lot of things. What is he doing now relative to this issue or other things in service to the community? Or is he still serving the community, or what is he doing?
Well, again, Mr. Scriber when I was there, Mr. Scriber was the number 2 person, and I believe he might have got pushed down a little bit under Ms. Abram. But Reggie Scriber is still doing the same thing. Nothing as usual.
That's the way it is. Yes. Well, hold on. Jason, I didn't introduce you. We're always happy when we got Jason. And incidentally, go ahead, Jason. Yeah, Jason Rodriguez, come forward.
I feel a little left out, but I know if I was invited to James Morant's house, we bring aluminum foil in our own Tupperware. So I'm just letting you know.
It wasn't that kind of party.
It's going to happen, Jason.
We're taking carry home. But my question is kind of similar to Leo's. He asked about the local HUD agency, but I wonder how much of the federal HUD directors, either currently or in the past. I know Ben Carton definitely doesn't have any remorse or any feelings towards public housing. He actually feels that within 3 to 4 years that you should be able to get out of public housing, and is looking at creating laws to actually push folks out of public housing. But how much do you think, Lucky, the federal side of HUD has actually played a part in really not providing the maintenance, and in some cases pushing for privatization?
Yes, sir. That's a great question. I will always say, and I will always go back to, now this started under President Barack Obama. Under his secretary, the guy running for president from San Antonio, Texas, named Juan Castro, one of the Castro brothers. It's called a private-public partnership. All it is, they sell off all the development to private management companies, and the private management company promised to infuse a bunch of cash in it. When I say a bunch of cash, you just put paint on the walls. But here in Baltimore City, because even our elected African-American officials, from the mayor on down, this current mayor and the last mayor, and the mayor before that mayor, all of them was in favor of getting rid of public housing.
Does that include Elijah Cummings?
That includes Mr. Cummings.
So the federal government reduces annually its appropriation for public housing in the United States, and we're comfortable with that. Yeah. There are people who are comfortable with that, and I don't hear, here we go, the Congressional Black Caucus. Let's get it. Who's advocating for us in terms of a black agenda with regard to housing or anything else?
If they took a poll to see how many people who live in housing projects vote, you would know that they pay them no attention.
Exactly.
Because they know they're not going to vote.
Look at the district records, Patrick.
Yeah.
And that'll give you the numbers right there.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't realize the power that they have.
And let's keep in mind, at the Baltimore City Housing Authority, there is a culture of intimidation, retribution,
and looking down upon.
And they have it from the city council to the mayor. They will retaliate against you with the full force of the government and HUD behind them if you go against them.
Sexism and racism personified.
And Patrick, there's currently a lockout in public housing.
What do you mean a lockout?
So as far as assistance for Section 8 and public housing, there is no money that's being allocated. It's frozen
for a while.
Correct.
What?
Yes. And there's a waiting list of 1,000+ families, including those that are dealing with disabilities.
But then Carson, the head of the department now, is wanting to raise the rents on the people that's living in it.
Because he doesn't want you to be
Jason,
comfortable.
Don't want you to get comfortable.
Right.
He's a puppet.
I believe that number around close to 70,000 on the waiting list in Baltimore City for subsidized housing. 70,000. And keep in mind, because most people who wait for public housing, I wouldn't want to say transient, but I want to say they move a lot. So they send information to the old address and remove them from the list.
Right.
But I guarantee if you track how many family members who work at 417 families have Section 8 vouchers, you'll see the connection.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pay for play there, too.
They actually just recently had a purge of the list, and they advertised it on the radio just recently.
You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People, and you can also join us on Facebook. And
YouTube and Periscope.
YouTube and Periscope. And listen, y'all need to share this, because if we don't care for each other and some find a way to look out for each other, you can rest assured that they ain't. And we're going to get to, I understand a statement this morning made by Nick Mosby saying he's colorblind. We're going to need to pray for him for glasses, because he need glasses, because this is not a colorblind world that we live in. But I'm going to go to Will Hanna, 410-481-1010, 410-481-1010. Y'all need to call in. We need to talk about it, because you are affected by it, no matter what you want to think, because there but for the grace of God go you and I. Will Hanna, welcome. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Good afternoon, family.
Good afternoon, Will.
Good afternoon, Soldier.
Hey, Lucky raised a lot of points, but here's a couple things I want people to look at. Is that, and I mentioned this before, but there's some things I want to add to it. Is that you have to look at the multifamily dwelling permits, and once they get pulled, you'll understand where they are removing people from public housing. They did the same thing at Madison Park. Madison Park is gone. They did the same thing at Gilmore Homes. Gilmore Homes portion of 100 units are leaving.
Utah Gardens.
What's that?
Utah Gardens.
Utah Gardens not under public housing.
No, it used to be.
Garden,
it's gone.
But
it's gone.
Not Utah Garden, but McCullough Homes. McCullough Homes. The only reason McCullough Homes is still there, and because they've already pulled the permits and they already started moving people out. This started 5 years ago. Is because of the State Center project. But once the State Center project got litigated, and I think it's still in court or it's coming out of court. But once that's done, those families will then be forced to leave also.
You think it's going to pass? You think that
already
the State Center already considered done?
It depends on what the court says. And that, that can be up in the air. But the other thing that I want people to understand is there's another whole pot of money called the CDBG money. Over at housing. Okay, now housing itself, as Lucky said, is not run by the city. It is run by HUD. So you have Baltimore City Housing, you have the Housing Authority of Baltimore City, and then you have HUD, which oversees them both. And all the money comes down from HUD. And Lucky can correct me if I'm wrong, but the money comes down from HUD, and it goes there. Now, there was a big cut in the CDBG money, and this is important. That cut happened because there was some mismanagement of money. And there was a U.S. Senator, Chuck Grassley, who did an investigation on Baltimore City housing.
Yes, he did.
Right? He conducted an investigation on Baltimore City housing, and they ended up cutting the CDBG funds. Now, the CDBG funds, for those that don't understand, that is the money that goes to housing counseling, to fund some of the Section 8 vouchers. It goes to some of the maintenance stuff and all that kind of stuff. That's what that CDBG money goes to. Those community development block grants that our federal legislators get to come into the city, and that money goes for that. That money was cut. So then what happened is you ended up having all these people that Lucky was talking about that are on this list. They ended up staying on that list because they couldn't get the units ready to get them into them because the budget was cut, and that came out of that CDBG money too. So I just wanted to make that point, but I think y'all right on point, and it's been a great show.
Well,
so I just wanted to say that, and then keep doing what y'all doing. But
Will, before you leave, are we moving in the right direction if we request a citywide meeting of the Baltimore City Housing Authority of Baltimore City and HUD, if we ask all three to come and share with us information and answer questions from residents? Would that be beneficial, you believe?
I think it's necessary because it's never happened.
Okay, and that's what I kept looking at. I said, I don't ever remember anybody pulling all of these.
But we have to demand it, and see, we can't be in a position of complacency where we sit back and wait for them to bring us stuff. If we go out and actually ask for it and demand it and say, these are the things that we actually need. Our community needs this. If it's nothing but answers, we need that. But if it comes down to funding, we need that as well. And we got to demand it.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Did you have another question?
Well,
for
I
Will?
just want to make this point. The genocidal crimes against humanity, as depicted in our discussion here today with public housing, are acts of violence.
Yes.
So when we start talking about violence and what constitutes violence, it's not just shooting somebody or lynching them per se. These are acts from the established order, institutional racism personified, continuing, ongoing acts and atrocities perpetrated against people of color.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Thanks, Will.
And you know something that's going on right now. The maintenance employees, which is a union job, they are working without a contract. And this is what the housing authority use to intimidate the workers, to keep the workers from not saying anything. So I can imagine under the threat that they will put out the residents if they say anything. I received phone calls, email, texts about mold in units and not being properly remediated. When we talking about kids' lives at stake, and when you talk about lead paint, remember what they did when I was there. They seized our vehicles, put liens on the vehicles because housing didn't pay the $24.8 million judgment for lead painting poor than our kids.
What? Man, I tell you what.
Absolutely vicious.
That before, and this is another one where the city solicitor's office has frozen payments in order to settle that lawsuit that was over almost about maybe 15, 20 years ago now.
About 15 years ago. You correct.
Is that Andre Davis still continuing that practice? He's city solicitor today.
Andre Davis is still continuing because remember, if you remember correctly, some people were taking some of the city vehicles in payment and holding them for ransom until they got paid.
What?
We was at Duncanwood when the lawyers came with liens to put on the vehicles.
Unbelievable.
Yes, indeed.
Man,
Andre Davis appointed by Catherine Pugh.
Right. Check this out. Gene, welcome to Patrick Henderson. How are you today, sir?
How's everybody doing?
Right. And thank you for that word of encouragement the other day on Friday.
Don't worry about that, Patrick. I'm not the only one who got your back, man.
No, I appreciate it. I just wanted you to know.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other subject.
Yes, it is. We won't get into it today.
Like,
right.
Because if any, it's like, what did they say in reference to what happened in Germany? Doc, you probably know better than me. I think I heard you say something about it in reference to if you're solid when they come and get you,
they'll come for you.
Next, they coming for
they come for all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, so what I wanted to say,
silence is betrayal.
Yeah, well, yeah. I talk to my neighbors, and quite a few of my neighbors where I live now were and are Section 8 people, and that Section 8 voucher is portable.
No, okay.
And the 71,000 missing people that we talk about that left Baltimore, and over the years, the 400,000 that left Baltimore, quite a few of those people are people who had portable Section 8s. And what they do is, just like in slavery, they buy them in the counties. They encourage them to come to the counties because it's a benefit.
Sure.
If they go to the counties, they get matching money from the federal government, those governments in the counties. And so that's, a lot of people who have vouchers, move to the county into housing that's available. Especially my nephew works in Montgomery County, and they provide housing for people, low-income people. And so it's a better environment, but that environment could be duplicated here in Baltimore if we had the will and the political expertise in government to help poor people. I'm not poor. I'm middle class. But I grew up. My mother was a domestic worker out here in Pikesville, where I live. And so my history is is a poverty background. So I just wanted to to say that also. One of the best kept secrets again is your Section 8 voucher can be used to purchase a home.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Did you know that, Bubby? Your Section 8 voucher can be used to purchase a home.
Probably in Baltimore County, they won't let you buy it in the city.
Well, and but if I forget what it's called, the neighborhood that's around the stadium above 25th Street in Greenmount. Yeah, a neighbor of mine used his to buy a purchase house over there.
So y'all need to check into that.
I think it's clear that there are questions and concerns that need to be asked and answered. And the best way to do it, I think Will mentioned that, and I guess he would know better surely than I do. Evidently, there's never really been a major meeting to discuss housing.
Then that's amazing.
And I think we need to call on it. I think those of us who cannot be intimidated or threatened by people who work for the federal, city, or state, we need to be the ones to call for it.
Yes, sir.
And
I
I'm
agree.
happy to say
Let's
Matthew
demand
Henderson
it.
will take the lead.
You know, one of the major conflicts.
Hold on for me. Yes, sir. Hold on. Go ahead.
One of the major conflict and the bigger problem that I perceive in all my years there, you have a union. You have a council, which is Council 67. The council represent the maintenance workers and the supervisors.
Is that AFSCME?
That's AFSCME,
Okay.
under the leadership of Glenard Middleton Sr. You have the council that represent the employees and the supervisors. So the employees pay more to the union for the supervisors pay more for his dues, and they get better service than the employees.
What?
So AFSCME is compromised with respect to bringing substantive change.
Let me be perfectly clear. So
Sharon Green Middleton's husband is whom?
Glenard Middleton.
Okay.
In my situation there, they was totally compromised and totally working in concert with the Housing Authority of Baltimore City, because they wrote my discipline letter to bring me back what I had to sign.
So I understand.
That the union was in cahoots with
Glenard Middleton Senior.
Gene, you had one other question, or you had another comment?
Yeah, I just want to make one other basic comment. Is I hear what everybody's doing. I'm doing my part. I got my podcast up and running. I paid a young person to help me to learn how to do this, and I have my podcast running now. So a lot of this information I can put on my podcast. The other thing too is I hope that Bubby, God bless you, man. But I'm make a suggestion to you is like, as you gather momentum, register people to vote, Bubby, because when you talk, and then when you can say that you have X amount of people who are behind you and who vote, then they'll pay attention to you, just like PFK Boom.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Gene, always. Bless you, my brother. We're going to go to Robert. Robert, 410-481-1010.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
We're doing fine. How are you, sir?
Hey, listen, Will, Anna, and Bubby, Lucky, y'all made some real good points. And one thing I forgot about is that rent that messed up everything for everybody in housing is St. George Cross. And when he was housing under the Reagan administration, they gave back over $300-something million. They didn't know about it. Kurt Smoke know about it. And this was downspout of Baltimore City housing. And
when he a preacher?
And low in income housing in Baltimore.
Yes, you're right.
I forgot about that person.
Yeah, special assistant at HUD one time.
Is he still living?
I don't think so.
No, he's.
Oh, did he get? Oh, he's gone.
He's passed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's passed. The Right Reverend St. George Cross.
The housing situation in Baltimore as it is.
Yes, sir.
I remember Graziano took $40 million and put it in a pension plan, and nobody said anything.
Where's the pension fan? Who's getting the pension?
The state pension, and they couldn't find out was we city, federal employees.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. 410-481-1010. All right, this gives us a little breather here to keep this moving. I think we've had a healthy conversation. Bubby, thank you for coming in. I know that you this is your day off. This is a holiday, isn't it? This is still Easter Monday. So there's no school today, right?
No school today. We're back tomorrow.
We're back tomorrow. Okay. But I want to thank you, and you can stick around. But again, I want to remind everybody that you're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010 Baltimore or WOLBbaltimore.com. If you don't have a radio, you got your phone, you can pull up the WOLB app and you can listen in with. But I want to hear from you all. This next subject that we're going to talk about is one that I wasn't privy to hear this morning, and that was the report card given by our delegate and our senators about the legislative session that just ended. And I would like to know, Leo, you were there and you called me and woke me up saying, did you hear? Did you hear? And did you hear? And did you hear? And there was a few in particular that caught my attention. One was Nick Mosby saying that in reference to the Speaker of the House, that he was going to be colorblind in his decision.
That was my interpretation. He didn't use those words, but okay. I got the sense when the question was put to him directly that he was not going to, he's looking at their qualifications vis-a-vis their race. Mm-hmm. And I find that when we do that, we understand that you have to be qualified to hold office. Mm-hmm. But when I hear African people do that, it's been my observation in this city and others that we mean that we are not going to focus on a black agenda, or we're not going to focus on the attainment of black economic, political power, educational power. We're just not going to do that. Well, so I get the impression that he's sitting on the fence. I am not on the fence, as I told you. I said you have 3 people running for the Speaker of the House of Delegates, one of whom is white. All 3 are qualified. I'm at the point in time where we have to have a black agenda, and the Black Caucus members should be charged with the responsibility, I think, of voting for one of the 2 blacks who are running for the office of Speaker. And they're both well qualified. I think it's time to talk about black power. And when you say that and use that phraseology, people know what you mean, and they say that's reverse racism. Well, the hell it ain't. Not in our situation.
No, it's not. And the other thing is that we must realize when black conscious people come in to power, there should be an uplifting of all boats. Because the things that we go through as poor people, and there's marginalized people. There are white people that are marginalized too.
Tell me about it.
Even though they're going to stick with the color of their skin as opposed to the shape that they're in. Ooh, I got to write that one down. Okay.
Wrote a song about it.
Yeah, write a song about it. Want to hear it? We don't do that. Now, was you talking about Castro, the one that's running for the presidency? They clocked him the other day on the radio because the number one subject on his thing is immigration. They say, well, did that kind of look a little weird? You know, your mama and your papa and all them immigrated. And he just ignored them and said immigration. Now, what if Obama had that attitude and it would have changed the Justice Department and laws that incarcerate black men? What if he had that thing that because the Castro understood that the immigration not only affects my people, it affects other people. But since I am Mexican, I'm not expected to speak up for my people that are being infringed upon. But when we get out there, we got to be the governor of all people. Obama, bless his heart, you just heard earlier how he disappointed. Changed that housing thing to fix it, to make it more difficult for people to get housing. But then he with Castro. But now Castro is concerned about the Mexicans.
Because he's Mexican and immigration affect him.
But we don't do that. So to your point about Nick Mosby, the one thing I know about Nick Mosby is from personal experience. I never will forget. They were trying to do the audits for the city. Y'all remember when they were having them audits? And I think Stephanie Rollins Blake was. Well, Wayno and I went down to the city hall because they were taking votes on who wanted to vote for the audits to be released and to get the audits done. And we watched Nick Mosby vote against the audits.
Right.
But do you know that same evening this Negro comes into the Ashburton Association meeting and tell the people he voted against it?
And you got him. You caught him.
I got him on camera doing it. I'm telling you this. I call him Tricky Nick. I've been calling him that from the point on. And he's running for office. He's going to try to get confirmed in his position in 2020. Baltimore, y'all already know who he is. Act accordingly and send him back to insurance,
Patrick,
or whatever it was he was selling before.
More to this. You got to remember, Nick Mosby only got where he is right today because of the deal that he made with the mayor.
Right. Right.
And if you look at the timeline and all of the players that are involved in this, you'll see what happened. He was running for mayor. He gave up his chance to run for mayor and threw all of his support behind the mayor at that point.
And she gave him that position in the state.
No. What happened was she had another guy by the name of Brown put put in there, who was one of her aides. He got indicted and charged with campaign finance problems. He got convicted, given a PBJ. He had already been almost installed in the delegate seat. He was pulled out, and that's how Nick Mosby got in.
Isn't he the one suspended from the mayor's employment circle now?
With the double dipping, he works for the mayor's office.
He was head of special projects,
and he also was on a board with two other members of the mayor's staff who were making an additional $19,000 per year.
Wow! Wow! Yes.
I want to make a point with reference to the position of Speaker of the House.
Okay.
Let me first say this. History in Baltimore City has shown, and you can look at the police commissioners that we have had. They've basically been a combination of Irish and Italians. We look at certain communities. I'm talking about my brothers and sisters. That's how I equate them. My Jewish brothers and sisters. Clearly, this past election, they showed very clearly they voted unanimously almost with reference to candidates that had Jewish backgrounds. They vote very strongly there. Here's my point to our African American community. When all things being equal, the qualifications are equal, the years of service are equal,
amen,
the deservedness of being appointed or elected are equal, you vote for your own.
Yes.
There's no ethnic group here in the city of Baltimore that has a history of doing anything but that. Why should we as African Americans have to be held accountable to say that we are blind to anything?
Colorblind, right.
To anything.
Yes, man.
All things being equal, the two candidates that are African American descent, y'all need to be set in a room and told, don't come out.
Right on.
To one of you, come out.
That's right.
And then we tell our Jewish brothers and sisters, we tell our gay family, we're only doing what everybody else is doing for themselves.
Looking out.
We are deserving of some position in high ranking in the state of Maryland.
That's right.
The want to be, what is it called, Legislative Colored Caucus, better known by some as Black Caucus, but it's nothing that they've done that appears to be black to me. If anyone should be setting these two candidates aside and say, y'all go in the room, y'all come out with one candidate, and then we tell our gay brothers and sisters who we have consistently supported, this one's not yours. This one is ours. This one is ours. You didn't let us get a treasurer for the state of Maryland. And Black Caucus folks, if the rest of y'all are colorblind like one purportedly has already said, maybe none of y'all should go back to Annapolis.
Right on.
When do we get our own?
That's right. And once we get our own, who they get in there and show fidelity to us? Wow. That's the big thing, and that's the reason a lot of people don't vote. But I hear you. God bless you for those words. Take them both in the room. One come out, and that's who we're gonna put out. I love it. That's simplicity.
That was eloquently stated.
Yes, it was brilliant. Yes.
Recently, we had. Black folks were attacked by a white woman from Harford County, Mary Ann Lasante.
Yes.
And the response of the Black Caucus is saying that all we can do is protest. We can.
Well, they sanctioned her, no?
They sanctioned her.
But she's still there.
But what I'm saying is, why did we not pursue, however difficult that might be, impeachment proceedings against her? They said that's as far as we can go.
They were controlled by both the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate, Leo.
That's exactly my point. That's the point I'm making. We've got to stop apologizing and being too afraid to stand up, go for the jugular when you've got your enemy on the defensive,
yes, man.
Cut their heads off, not figuratively, but literally.
Well, don't get me started. I might need prayer on that one. Brother Carlos, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment? Welcome, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Enjoying the conversation. Patrick, first of all, you had a very, very strong stance last Friday when you got that call. You were on that program there.
Yes, sir.
I don't understand. I don't understand the mentality of some people, but it is what it is. On that thing about the Speaker of the House and so forth, I did not get the impression that Mosby said that he was going to be colorblind, but my impression was that he was looking to the candidate that would be advocating and giving the most benefit to Baltimore. I seem to get the impression that Maggie McIntosh has a proven track record for bringing benefit and resources to Baltimore. And although Adrian Jones comes from Baltimore County, as I understand it, I didn't seem to get that idea that she has a proven track record for that advocacy.
Well, I tell you what, I've heard more good about her than I've heard.
Ask our delegate in the 43rd district, what position, if any, has she ever taken on HBCUs? Is that not enough?
And that's
that's in her district. Let's ask her. What was your position in the 15 years you've been on city council? Has she ever taken a position with reference to HBCUs? And Morgan is in her district.
Well, I think that these are questions that come to bear and should be asked of these particular candidates as they come up, and I think that information should be developed around those central issues. But I'm just giving a general comment, and hopefully we'll get some clarification. Thanks.
Thank you, Carlos, as usual.
Well, all I can say, the 40th district with Mr. Mosby represent Gilmore in the 40th district, Curry House in the 40th district, Lawrence House in the 40th district, Lakeview Towers in the 40th district, and all of these developments have been or soon to be privatized.
But one of the things that I'm coming to you next, Leo. The thing that I cannot understand is that these people, like Nick Mosby, he didn't get reelected. They kicked him out of office, and then our corrupt mayor, bless your heart, sweetheart, I still love you. At least I'm still trying to love you. I'm trying to find a reason to love you, because I believe God love you, but I'm having some issues right now with God and you, but I'm gonna still love like I'm supposed to. But the idea that all this money that has been coming here, where has that money gone? We can't look at the properties and see where it is. Doc, where you think it is? They found a way to steal it?
Well, you had to first look at where has the most money been that has never resurfaced, and that is with the Baltimore City school system. You know, we had to look at how many millions of dollars have been lost, hurting our kids, hurting our children, and we have a school board that flip-flops on the crime issue, arming police. They flip-flop on whether or not one private school should be open or closed. We have folks that are in Annapolis, they call senators and delegates, who have not seen the light yet, that you have a failed Baltimore City school board system. Why have you not moved and introduced the bill to bring us any majority elected school board?
Right on.
You know, we have elected officials who are going to basically come back here, as they've begun to come back since Annapolis is closed, and give us this song and dance about what they've done. But look at their priorities, and you'll see their own priorities that they wrote. They failed.
Don't get me started. And Sherry, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment?
Yes, I have a comment. Patrick, I don't know what you're drinking, but you keep on drinking it because you've been knocking it right out the park.
Right on.
Say amen.
It was that cabbage from yesterday.
Why did you hit it out the park? And you hitting it out the park right now. Now, I got to say this thing about Nick Mosby. Nick Mosby is for self-interest.
Yes, ma'am.
And I say that because he ran a Belinda Conaway out of her camp.
Yes, he did.
Because he was all for the children.
Yes.
They redistricted everything him, and he didn't even stay in there.
Right.
Now he's going down here in the net. No, he's for self-interest.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
if he thinks he's going to be for mayor, he can forget it. But I will say this, Patrick, until our people get together and put all their differences aside,
that's right.
Men as well as women, we're never going to be able to vote together.
That's right.
Because we got to somewhere along. Because I'm gonna be real honest with you, and I know a lot of people ain't going to like it. The way I'm feeling, and there's a lot of people feeling like I'm feeling, we sick of black people. I'd rather have a white man in office. And I know it's wrong for me to say it.
It sure is.
I'm sick and tired of being screwed by my own people.
Ooh, I know the feeling, sweetheart.
Until we get it together.
Yes, ma'am.
And we stop having all this bickering and we come together and everybody can have a piece to be in charge with. One don't feel like they more dominant in the other, because everybody is raising some good issues right now. So we need to table that together. But David, but let me tell you something. Even I'm looking at these ministers. I'm dealing with some of these ministers. They for self-interest.
Yes. Yeah, for decades.
If you came right out and say you love Mayor Pugh, but you got some issues, you were straight about it.
Yes, ma'am.
I respect that.
Thank you.
Keep on, Patrick, what you doing, because you knocking it out the park. Keep drinking what you drink.
Drinking from the fountain of truth. God bless you. Thank you,
If
Sherry.
this was the Larry Young Show, Patrick would say, we want to hear that later on the show.
Yeah,
She said
clock that
said
one.
Off the guard there.
You know, but I want to get to that point because there was some eyes roll, Sherry, when you said that you'd almost rather trust the white people. I understand why. But you must remember that no matter how hard we trust them, bottom line is their true concern is about white people. I've got Jewish friends. I've got all kinds of friends and stuff. But that's what the Indians say. That a bird has two wings.
Or speak with forked tongue. Or
no, there's one left wing and there's a left wing, but it's on the what? Same bird. And
I think she made a heck of a point. And
I do too.
I'm hoping the members of the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland heard what she said. You have a responsibility to go behind closed doors and come out with one candidate that you can all get behind. You fail us as a people. If y'all don't pull everybody together and say we come out with one person, so that one person can get the seat. Now, I have a preference. There's been somebody that's been there for a while. Haven't always agreed with her, but the fact that the woman has proven to be faithful during this whole period of time when she's been under Mike Bush the whole time, she needs to have at least an edge up to speak first. But I'm saying go in a closed room and come out with one. Otherwise, you're doing us a disservice, and there's no need for a black caucus if y'all can't come out with a solution for this. You don't need a black caucus anymore.
Feckless. Theo, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment? Come quickly, sir.
I have a comment when the Speaker of the House and the Treasurer, you can criticize Nick Mosby and you can criticize the Black Caucus, but the bulk of criticism should go to the Democrat Party itself. The Democrats in Maryland, of which I'm a member, one half of the voters in the Democratic Party are African American, and yet they disrespect African Americans.
Yes.
The person, when all that contention was done about the treasurer herself should have been convinced to remove herself so an African American could take that place. Likewise, in the speaker thing, the legislature, which is basically Democratic, that's going to make this decision, should tell the white candidate, sit down. We're the most loyal constituency in the state. We got nobody in power, therefore you should step down, but they won't do it. And people are so wed, the community is so wed to the Democratic Party that they don't bring up the task for that.
Well, you know what? I hear you, and I hear people say that all the time. But man, why would you go and attach yourself to the lynchman? See, that's the thing of it is with the degree.
I'm saying discipline the Democrat Party.
We do. We try to do it every time we have an election. We just can't seem to get the people in there. And once they get in there, they become other people. That's the thing. That's the old switch and bait. That's how we keep getting deceived. We're voting for what we're hoping will be people that will have the fidelity to us. But once they get...
Let me say this to you, Patrick. It's the Democrats that have to bring themselves to this point that they say, because I don't think there's an ability to have a person in power until 2020, right? That's an African American.
Right.
And Bob Embry did that. He removed himself from the race between Schmoke and DuBois because it was fair. Let the Democrats be fair again.
I agree with you. Thank you so much, Theo.
I happen to agree. It's a good point. I happen to agree. What have the Maryland Democrats done for African Americans? What have the Maryland Democrats done for African Americans?
I agree.
Okay?
But debating, I tell you what, one thing they did, they stopped Hogan. They stopped Hogan from stopping you, the police stopping you and taking your car, and with no charges. They stopped him from doing that. Now, come on now.
Was that because of us, or was that because white people were also being confiscated?
We're gonna talk about Hogan,
because you got white people now that are being busted
I'm just talking about what Democrats have done.
If we're gonna talk about Hogan and what he purportedly did, where all these black ministers went ahead, and we haven't heard from not one of these black ministers yet. And ask, when did you ask him the question about HBCU?
Don't start.
They don't have the courage to answer that question.
Let's speak truth to power today.
Yes, a couple of your black ministers are going to be running for mayor, so you're going to hear from them soon.
Yeah, right. They can't, and they can't collect no tithes in.
Well, you'll hear from them when they have the first funeral from the persons that are shot by the Hopkins police force.
Wow. We're going to get to that in a second.
Let's
come, Richard. What you want to say?
First, I'm getting tired of the sinister ministers that we have around us.
You're welcome to the club.
2, I have my, shall we say, distaste and dislike for the Baltimore City delegation and the Maryland and the legislative black caucus.
Because of their lack of responsiveness to the constituents, yes, I know that very well.
This is what's going to be the problem, because many of them go along to get along.
Yes, man. Yes, man. And the people ain't paying attention. But those of us that are paying attention must let them know.
Yes, sir.
Like y'all talking about voting for Biden. This man is poison in the black community. From the 70s and the 80s, he's the one that took them laws out where black kids, when people go to prison, they would get GED training and vocational training, could get their bachelor's degree.
That's right.
He killed all of that.
That's right.
How many people did we know in our families that went to prison and came out and had a trade when they came out? It was the most significant, one of the best programs they ever had.
Or had a college degree.
I had a college degree. And they killed that. And he talking about running for president. I tell y'all what, y'all need to be talking about that. And you look on my face page.
He's an Obama Democrat.
He's Obama. Obama did something. We just talked about some of the crap that Obama did to hurt us.
He's a white devil.
Well, I'm trying to stay safe.
I hate to get into age here, but he's old.
He's past the
and he's had health problems in the past.
Yeah, well, that ain't all. His mind has always been a little suspect to me. Yolanda, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People, and thank you for holding. But you only got 1 minute to talk to us. What you got?
Hi. I don't think I love y'all's show. I listen to it all the time. I just
thank you.
Respond.
Sounds like Yolanda Pulley.
Yes, it is. How you doing, Leo?
How you doing?
I love you, Leo. But my thing is that we have to get back to loyalty. I don't think it has anything to do with the Republican Party or Democratic Party. These people lose sight when it comes to money.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you black, white, green, yellow, purple, or orange. They lose sight, and they sell people out. They sell people out for money.
8 pieces of silver.
We got to get away from politicians, period.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the politicians. It don't have anything to do with the party. It's the politician because they're for profit. We need people who's for people. That's the problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Loyalty.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. I use this analogy. There are two kind of preachers. There's one that's what I call the evangelist. They come in and turn stuff up and tell you everything that you don't want to hear and rebuke you and get the offering and they get out of Dodge. Then there's the shepherd who cares about his flock, who visits the sick, who makes sure that the children are being taken care of. We need a shepherd. We need a shepherd in this town. So I agree with you, Miss Yolanda, 100%. And that's what I'm looking for. And you can tell by their works. The Bible says you shall know them by their fruit.
Come on.
So if they're coming up in there and ain't no fruit.
Let's not have church up in here.
Yeah, well, you know what? I like to use my hammer, beat the organ, and we be dancing about right now. Thank you, Yolanda, so much. Rashid, you're welcome here. You have a question or comment, sir?
I have a comment.
Come forth.
First of all, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I live on the front lines here in Baltimore City as far as what I do with the children, with my schools and stuff, sports teams and all that. But I had to step to these young boys yesterday in my neighborhood because they're trying to open up a drug market and I ain't having it. Because I'm true soldier. I mean, I avoid politics because originally I'm not from Baltimore. I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania. I'm Larry Holmes' cousin.
Oh, wow. Prize fight in your blood, huh?
Hey, brother Rashid, take down my number, 443-682-5586. If you need somebody to come and stand out there with you, my brother, I'm definitely there in your corner for that.
And not only that, but Brother Rashid, I want you to not only tell them to get off, but we're putting together a little pamphlet so that you can go and give to them to show them that that is not the only choice that they have.
Correct. We're bringing some resources.
Yeah, we're bringing some major resources to this. And we think that our kids are behaving as predators, but really, man, they're just lost. They got no home base, no family base. They're talking to other kids who are like-minded, who have no base either. So, and I appreciate that, but listen, don't be careful with them because they got attitudes and stuff. But it ain't about you. It's about the conditions that they're in, and they're going to react to you because that's the only way they know to react. So when you come to them in a way of wanting to help them. You understand they need to eat, and they're probably hungry. Okay, they won't say it because they're too embarrassed to admit it. But I guarantee you, if it's 10 of them there, 9 of them cannot read. Okay, so they're limited, but we understand, and thank you for the work that you do, and we'll be telling you more about that pamphlet. And Jason gave you his number, and if you want to get it, you
yeah, can he repeat that number?
Yes, sir.
443-682-5586.
Yeah, maybe we can get Mosiah and the Roots of Scouting and them to come out there and communicate with them and let them know, man, this ain't the way. This leads nowhere, and that's what we got to do. Thank you so much for your work, Rashid. We're going to go to Bubba. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment, sir?
Yes. Hi, Patrick. How you doing?
Very well. How are you?
Good. Listen, do you guys happen to remember back in I want to say I really can't remember because I have a memory problem now. But maybe you remember the name Deanna Green.
Yes, we do. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Drew Hill Park. That's your daughter.
Exactly. That is my daughter.
Yes.
Oh, the ball field.
Yes.
I remember that now.
And Nick Mosley needs to be ashamed of himself.
Why?
Okay, because for the simple reason is that he ran out. What's her name?
Belinda Conaway.
Belinda Conaway.
Yes. He ran out. He ran out Conaway.
Mm-hmm.
We are still working with Baltimore City and BG&E, but Baltimore City has not lived up to their end of the bargain.
What was the bargain?
What was the bargain? Is that they were supposed to repair, everything that was given to them from BG&E. They have not done that.
Does your wife work for the Housing Authority?
Yeah.
Her name is Nancy Green?
Yes, she is.
Bubby? Well, you just told me that. Why did you tell me that she works there?
I worked under Miss Green, and again, I'm sorry for that loss of their daughter that got shocked to death at the Jewel Park.
Wow. Okay.
But they're not living up to their end of the bargain. They are now starting to work with us because over the last 10 years we have not really pushed this issue because we figured that they would do what they were supposed to do. They followed us tooth and nail.
They don't have the integrity. Did you have a memorandum of understanding with the city in writing as to what they were promising to do?
Yes.
It was a compensation, monetary?
Yes.
And they have not paid
and they reneged on it.
They have reneged on it. They have not done everything that they're supposed to do. BG&E has turned over everything to them. They have to repair the issues that are set in front of them.
Now, Brother Green, that's because you're talking about bringing institutional change, and they don't want change.
Well, they're even fighting the status quo. It used to be they would pay people, right? Am I wrong? They would pay them. But the Mayor Pugh, and she changed it, which I had a problem. I talked about it on Friday. She's saying that the city doesn't have the money
with the city solicitor.
With the city solicitor, but all she's got to do is make the cops buy a bond, and they're on insurance. So when they do that, somebody, then they have to pay it, and that would eliminate the problem. But of course, the cops don't want to do that because they want to keep being thugs. Okay, but all they got to do is, am I right? Am I crazy here?
But she's got to ask. She's got to ask Massa.
Yeah, man, this is insanity. And you keep on doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Ain't that what Einstein's this theory of insanity?
Yeah. Our leaders looked upon white folks who have the economic power, leverage, and allow ourselves to be. They're moving us around like we're on a chessboard in conflict with each other.
Yes, well, we got 7 minutes, and Mr. James Morant, you brought this to my attention. An editorial in the Baltimore Sun and Saturday's paper, Black Kids Behaving as Predators, and that's in quote mark. The vague description presented in the email could have been any number of groups of teenagers. Such a description does nothing but raise suspicions about any black boy who happens to find his way downtown. They might as well have posted signs that say beware of black teenagers. Who wrote this email?
A security guard wrote the email to his manager, and then that manager sent it up the chain to the Downtown Baltimore Development Corporation, or Downtown Partnership. The interesting thing is that the security guard was black, and the senior vice president that he reported this incident to was black. And the incident was some what I will call irrepressible black kids running around in the Inner Harbor. And what happens when that happens, when there are groups of teenagers and they are black teenagers, there's always the impression that they're going to do something nefarious.
A fear factor.
And so the report...
But it's profiling, you know.
It's exactly profiling. So the report went forward, and then there was a large backlash on social media, saying that this should never have happened.
Well,
and
the email should never have happened.
Right. And you shouldn't categorize black folks in that way.
But we're seeing a bit of an epidemic of that happening, though, aren't we?
Yes. Actually, we had the police force in...
East Point Mall, or?
Well, we had something in East Point Mall this weekend. 1,000 young people got unruly. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, the police force in Yale
University,
in New
Haven, Connecticut,
and the town that is near Yale,
Hamden, where you used to live.
They shot an unarmed couple on Tuesday. They were a black couple. The person who shot them was a black person, and
a black cop.
Black cop.
Mm-hmm.
Black cop from Yale and a black cop from Hamden.
And this is your fears about
my fear about Hopkins.
About Hopkins.
Yeah.
And something happened Saturday at Penn North where the subway was chained at 7 o'clock. Well, it happened Friday night, mm-hmm. and they chained the subway at 8 o'clock, 7:45 a.m. Penn North subways, they had chains on it, and the subways were not stopping at Penn North. They said it was a fight related to the anniversary of Freddie Gray that took place.
And it wasn't true?
Well, it was chained, and nobody told me anything about
I understand it was chained.
But nobody told me about anything that happened.
But when I listen to Jim, I'm thinking about the White Marsh situation you just mentioned, mm-hmm. and the police, Baltimore County Police, using dogs and pepper spray.
Yes, they did.
Police dogs. Is that Birmingham, Alabama, all over?
Well, the ironic thing at Yale is that the Yale police person actually got shot as well. Mm. And none of the people in the car had weapons. Mm. So now they're saying that the two police forces, the Hamden police force and the Yale police force, were shooting at each other, multiple bullets. And so now they're saying that one of the bullets ricocheted from the car and hit the Yale policeman. I mean, so
God don't like ugly.
It's just the craziest scenario.
What a tangled web.
We normally don't take 2 calls, but Bubba, you have another comment, sir? Did you have something you wanted to say that you didn't get to say?
Yeah, I do. First of all, let's put it this way. I love the city. Mm-hmm. Okay? I used to travel from North Carolina State to New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And I always wondered what, I looked at the skyline, mm-hmm. and I said, I wonder what Baltimore is about. Mm. Then I finally get drafted by the Baltimore Colts. I got drafted by the Colts. Right now, I'm in the process of working with my wife at the Housing Authority, putting up a playground. Okay? We're putting up a playground at Baltimore City. We need workers. We need workers, and that will be on the morning of June 22nd. Okay, and that's going to take place.
Those are volunteers, people that are going to give their time. Is that what you're asking?
Exactly, and that's going to be held at Winans Woods.
Where? What was the place again?
At Winans Woods.
Winans Wood. Okay, Woods. Okay.
Okay, and we just need workers. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to work with Baltimore City Police. Okay, I'm trying to work with Towson State University, and I'm working with Morgan State University. Okay, bring those two together. They play each other. Okay, they play each other, and not only do they play each other, but the Baltimore City Police Department need to have some type of personal relationship with the city.
We're working on that, and we agree with you 100%. As Richard Terry was there when they originally put forth, drew up the paperwork for the community policing, which we need drastically to be able to do a bridge. In fact, I was thinking the other day, Richard, we ought to call it Baltimore Bridges, as a program to get the police.
There's always been the studies that have said that the units that are either auxiliary and or reserve units across the country are the bridge between the pure civilian world and the pure law enforcement.
So you like my title, huh?
Yeah.
All right. We praying. Thank you, Bubba. Okay. I don't know. Do you regret finally getting off the freeway and moving here? Do you regret what? Do you regret? You say you passed many times and you wondered what it was like.
No, I don't. I really don't because my daughter, number one, she was ready. Okay, so she definitely knew who she was and what she stood for, and but what I want to do is. I want people to understand that I'm not against the city.
Bless you. Thank you, my brother. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Say goodbye, Leo.
Keep the faith, everybody.
Say goodbye, Jim.
Goodbye. Have a great day.
And say goodbye, Doc Cheatham.
Goodbye.
God, and Bubby, thank you so much for joining us. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People.
And goodbye, everybody.
And Richard, I know I keep Richard. You ain't in the room, but he gonna be here next week because we got to take pictures. And I got them sausage for you too, so I'm gonna drop them off by your house. Okay. You and please join us next Sunday at 3:30 on Spirit 1400. Me and Jimmy hold it down there. Me and Mr. Rand hold it down there. God bless each and every one of you. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson Meet the People, and don't forget every Monday at 11:30. You need to be here. We love you. You pray for us, and we'll pray for you. Have a great week.
Just call me when you get here, Patrick.
Okay, I will do.
Black power, everybody.
Great show.
On things that you later regret, wishing you never had. Once you realize it wasn't worth it, your destiny.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore. Brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel.
Foreclosure. If foreclosure is a word you're hearing and worrying about, you need to get a fresh start now. Call Jeff Cerroti to stop foreclosure at 410-999-8000. Stop the harassing phone calls. Sleep easier. Set up a free in-office consultation with Jeff Cerroti himself to get your fresh start. Cerroti & Associates are the bankruptcy specialists. They've been helping Marylanders stop foreclosures and get out from under their mounting bills for over 25 years. Foreclosure stopped, or set up a free in-office consultation. You'll sit down with Jeff Cerroti to discuss your situation. No obligation, but if you do proceed, mention WOLB for a special discount. Call today, 410-999-8000 or freshstartlaw.com to get your financial fresh start and stop foreclosure with the bankruptcy specialist, Cerroti & Associates. They're convenient to the Beltway with free parking. Stop foreclosure. Stop garnishment. Call Cerroti & Associates today at 410-999-8000. We're a debt relief agency helping people file bankruptcy under the Bankruptcy Code.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.